Every year, an absolutely immense weather system sweeps across the Indian subcontinent. We're talking about a force of nature that dictates the lives of more than 1 billion people. It's this ancient, life-giving rhythm. But what if that rhythm is breaking? We're about to dive into a century of data to find out what's really going on with the Indian monsoon.
So let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind, is India's most vital weather system actually breaking? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. Oh no, it's way more complex and honestly a lot more interesting than that. And together, we're going to piece this puzzle together slide by slide.
To really get what's at stake here, you have to understand that the monsoon is basically the economic engine for the entire region. It waters the crops that feed hundreds of millions, it fills the reservoirs that power huge cities, so any little shift, any change in its behavior at all sends these massive ripples across the entire society.
Okay, so to crack this case, we need to become climate detectives. We're going to be looking at a whole series of these really fascinating maps that show rainfall trends over the last 120 years. But first things first, let's make sure we know exactly how to read them.
All right, here's our first piece of evidence, a map from the 1980s. Now, the most important thing to get here is that this isn't showing how much rain fell. No, it's showing the trend. Is a region getting progressively wetter over time, or is it getting drier? That's the question this map is designed to answer.
So here's the secret code, and it's really simple. Blue means a trend towards more rain, red means a trend towards less rain, and all those little dots you see, the stippling, that's where the data is basically screaming at us, telling us the trend is statistically significant. It's a real signal, not just random chance. So, got it? Blue is wetter, red is drier, and those dots really matter.
All right, now that we're all geared up, let's hop in the time machine. We're going to look at a few snapshots from across the last century. And what I want you to pay attention to is how wildly these patterns swing back and forth. This is really a story about volatility.
So let's start way back at the beginning of the 20th century. Wow, look at all that blue. From 1901 to 1910, huge parts of the country, especially out west and across the peninsula, were on a pretty significant wetting trend. It looked like the monsoon was actually getting stronger.
But then, just 20 years later, boom, the picture completely flips on its head. By the 1920s, that sea of blue is gone, replaced by this massive, significant red zone right across the agricultural heartland of northern and central India. A really powerful drying trend had taken hold.
Okay, let's fast forward to the 1950s, and what do you know, the pendulum swings right back again. That drying trend up north weakens, and just look at the peninsula. It's dominated by this deep, significant blue. The story here is just constant change, a system that's always in flux.
And now, let's jump forward 60 years to see where all this volatility has taken us. This map shows the most recently completed decade, and what's so fascinating here is this emerging pattern of extremes. We see these deep, significant reds in the central and northern plains, right next to intense, significant blues along the west coast and up in the northeast. It's not one thing or the other anymore, it's both, happening all at the same time.
So what does all this bouncing around actually mean? Is there a pattern in all this noise? Well, yeah, there is. And the answer isn't that the monsoon is just getting weaker or stronger overall. The answer is that it's reorganizing itself into this patchwork of extremes.
I mean, this slide really says it all. On the left, you've got the drying of the 1920s. On the right, our most recent decade. Just look at how the patterns have sharpened. The drying in the Central Plains has become more defined, and the wetting along the coasts has become way more intense. The country is literally splitting into different weather extremes.
So let's just break it down nice and simple. In the last few decades, a new rainfall map is taking shape. The great agricultural breadbasket, the Indo-Gangetic Plain, is seeing a significant drying trend. But at the exact same time, the West Coast and the Western Ghats mountain range are getting significantly wetter. You can see this clear regional split is happening.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all this data? It's a really crucial shift in how we need to think about this. The story of the Indian monsoon in the 21st century, it isn't one of simple decline. It's a story of radical rearrangement. This is the key point right here. We've got to throw out that simple idea that a changing climate just means less rain. The evidence points to something way more complex, and frankly, more dangerous. The monsoon is becoming a system where one region's drought is happening at the very same time as another region's deluge. And while it's complicated, scientists point to things like a rapidly warming Arabian Sea fueling those coastal downpours, while at the same time, air pollution might be weakening rainfall further inland.
And the consequences of this? They are profound. Those drying plains, that threatens the food security of millions of people. Those wetter coasts, that means a terrifying new reality of catastrophic flooding. The whole system is just becoming dangerously unpredictable.
Which leaves us with this final, really sobering question. For centuries, an entire civilization has been built around the predictable rhythm of the monsoon. But if that old rhythm is gone, replaced by this chaotic new beat of extremes, how does a nation adapt? How can you rely on a rhythm that has lost its beat?